Hello. Welcome back. This is The Infected. I am back here with Stafer Case. I don't know, you boot up the game and let's start. Start. Okay. So last time we played Case 3, which was the Wizard's Room. So we're gonna go into Case 4, Mistletoe. Case 4, Mistletoe. Oppenheimer. The threat level applied to phenomena as dangerous as atomic bombs. In the basement of the Furbarrow lies a facility that houses these Oppenheimers. Wow, okay. The name Mithril Rudger. Skill, Severance Protection, threat level, Oppenheimer. That girl's skill separates her body from any damage that may be done to it. No bullets can break her skin. Toxins move straight through her, not affecting her in the slightest. Her skill is activated subconsciously, remaining awake even when she sleeps. To put it in a word, her skill makes her invincible. So let's get right down to business. How did Miss Mithril die? And also, how did it happen inside the cell she was locked in? Oh, wow. Man Affairs Division, 1960-something, December 24th, 4 o'clock. Would you like some more? Yes, thank you. Note, is that black tea you're drinking today? It is. Seeing you drink it all the time, Sergeant, got me curious about the taste. Is that so? Would you like some more too, then? No, in the end, it's coffee for me. Showing your true colors? Showing my preferences, to be more precise. Look at you, really opening... Look at you, really opening up. Look at you, really opening up. There it is, there's a voice. Truly, how long has it been since we were able to put down paperwork and enjoy a spot of tea? That's all thanks to Note's arrival, and the dramatic increase in the speed in which we solve our cases. We don't have a single case in our backlog, and the last few days have been nothing but peace and quiet. Do you think we might even be able to take Christmas off this year? Wake up from whatever dream you're in. I've never seen a Christmas pass quietly in London. Oh, that's kind of sad. Last year, Santa Claus was wedged in between the bells in the square. And the year before that, there was that incident where a nun was turned into a tree ornament. And 3 years ago, that bloke dressed as Rudolph stabbed a person to death with a candy cane. And 3 years ago, the bloke dressed in Rudolph stabbed Oh my gosh. And 3 years ago, the bloke dressed as Rudolph stabbed the person to death with a candy cane, yeah? Can I really keep living here? But we finished that investigation up quickly, and the four of us were able to celebrate. We went straight to Johnny's secret spot. Who's Johnny? What's going on? Why the sudden mood shift? John Madden. 2 years back, he was a John Madden. 2 years back, he was a detective here at the Manor Affairs Division. I see. Seems like he worked here before me. They all seemed reluctant to give me any details, though. Seems like he worked here before me. They all seem reluctant to give me any details, though. Did something happen to him? Are you all here? Who's this now? The chief? Sarge? Please tell us what business you have here, and be on your way. No time for jokes. You've been summoned. The underground called, and they asked for the Manor Affairs Division by name. Underground? This building has a basement? We should be running. Detective Athena? Everyone, make for the front door if you want to live. Everyone, make for the front door if you want to live. Calm down. Pull yourself together. There's no use running from the door. We should break through the window. There's no use running for the door. We should break through the window and make our escape instead. I don't want to die! Is this really curtains for us? Even Detective Brian's worked up about this. What sort of place is this underground they're talking about? The Barrow's ground floors manage and control the phenomena that happened out there in the world, and we try to reduce any shockwaves that may cause. However, the work of the ground floors is nothing but a show we put for the normal folks out there. The real Burrow business happens on the basement floors. And, what real business might that be? I guess, human experiments and the like. And the like. Only the people in the underground know exactly what goes on down there. And no one who goes down there returns to the ground floors. I mean, that last part's just a rumor, but such a long-lasting rumor must have its roots in truth. So what does that mean for us now? We savor this cup of tea, because it may be our last. Just as I thought. I should have had coffee. I have come to escort underground. Please follow me. I have come to escort you underground. Please follow me. Ah! They're here! You'll never catch me! Wait. Rather than pointlessly putting up a fight, don't come my way. Why me too? Why me too? This is Mari. I have restrained the 3 who were resisting. I need 3 men to carry their unconscious. Will I only need 3? Yep. Requesting 3 men. I'll lead the rest of them downstairs. Who are you exactly? No need to get too friendly. Just call me M. You said Mari before, no? Call me M. Well then, Miss M, why are you taking us to this underground? The underground is where we house the facility that manages our Oppenheimers. I'm a guard down there. Today there was incident in the facility. Your division will be investigating it for us. Oppenheimers. Note, you've memorized the threat levels for phenomena, right? Yeah, there's unarmed for the people viewed as harmless. After that we have Bowie, Colt, and Estinine. From lowest to highest, right? That's right. Out there people think that Estinine is the highest level threat. But in truth, there are 2 levels higher than that. 1 threat level higher than Estinine is Oppenheimer. Oppenheimers pose a threat at a nation level. Thus, it's the Bureau's job to capture the Oppenheimers and isolate them from the rest of society. That's probably where we are going. To the facility where they keep the Oppenheimers locked away. I see. Then, what's the next level up? The next level? You just said there were 2 levels higher than Estinine, didn't you? What's after Oppenheimer? I just said nothing of that sort. Huh? You did too. Did not. Did not? What are they trying to pull? You 2 should really be getting ready for this next part. From here on out, I'm going to have to blindfold the both of you. Okay. Note, the threat levels were named after the people who dreamed up those weapons. The last threat level was named after the man who created the nuclear bomb. You know what that means, right? I just want to tell you one thing. Don't think common sense can make heads or tails of anything you're about to see. Oh. Case 4. Mistletoe. Borough Underground area. 1960 something, December 24th, 4:30. Here you are. An Indian black tea called Assam, grown in a Borough certified tea garden. Could you hand that one to me, please? Could you hand that one to me, please? After that, we've got coffee made from beans grown in strict conditions down in Panama. That be for me. Thank you. Finally, 5 gallons of tap water. That will be for our friends lying here, please. Ah! Oh. Ah! Yeah! Is this heaven? Please, oh Lord, they all deserve to die. Thina? Pandy? Of course, I'm in hell, aren't I? What's that supposed to mean? Where on God's green earth are we? The Borough's underground section. This is the underground? But it's so bright. Well then, here we have the space reserved for our Oppenheimer stafers. In order to keep their stress levels to a minimum, we tried to construct it be as similar to the underground floors as we could manage. Oppenheimers? There were Oppenheimers under our feet this whole time? I guess the chief knows a little about what's going on down here. It's as the chief said. This facility was built to manage the stafers who were designated the threat level Oppenheimer. They summoned us down here to investigate a murder that occurred in their facility. A murder? Inside the Borough? That's right. That's right. Let me fill you in on what Note and I have learned. At the time of the murder, this facility held 4 people with the third level rating of Oppenheimer. The victim was one of those 4 people, a woman who went by the name of Mithril Rugger. Rugger was found dead inside of a private cell at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The cause of death is currently unknown. The problem is Rugger's skill. Severance protection. Her skill disconnected her from anything that would have caused her bodily harm. Moreover, the skill was triggered outside of Rugger's will and knowledge. In a word, she was invincible, yet despite her skill, her body was found within a tightly controlled facility. The whole situation seems impossible through normal means. Our prime suspects are the 3 Oppenheimers, ranked stafers who kept alongside her. Since they carry skills with a certain level of Oppenheimer, they may have made the impossible possible. A job is to meet each one and find out who was able to harm Mithril. That's why we were brought down here. You there. You there. God, what sort of joke are you lot trying to pull? Consider the value of these Oppenheimers and how much our Nathan just lost. To think such a thing could happen despite all this surveillance. This sort of occurrence is simply unprecedented, no? Yet you lot are going to leave such a matter of national importance in the hands of the weakest link of our London branch, the Manor Affairs Division. Have you all lost your minds? So we are the weakest link, I see. This was, not my decision. Then whose was it? Mine. Mine. Hey there, Brian. Is that perhaps... Indeed, your assumption is correct. Who are you exactly? What are you saying? This is Herman Mod. He's a cabinet secretary. He's famous here at the Borough. Don't ever cut off me again. Don't ever cut me off again. My apologies, sir. He didn't cut off anyone, though, did he? He said what I was going to say. So he did cut it. So he did, indeed, cut me off. What was that for? To make our direct show of the fact that I'm in a position to use violence whenever I please and without reason. Actions are more effective than words. One thing's for certain. You can immediately tell that he's a high-ranking official. Cabinet Security, sir. I'm beside myself for forgetting the contribution you've made in my founding the borough. I deserve your best shot. Hit me again. Wow. Bending over backwards less than 5 seconds after guy whacks you for no reason. Seriously, the man takes his opportunism to a level of phenom. I see you all listening back there.
As you may have figured out by now, I am the one who you called you here.
My word, and what an honor it is.
We've had an incident we can't quite make sense of, and I heard that you all are good at finding oddities, yes?
Yes, that's our specialty. Chief, I love it if you'd shut your ass up for a second.
From the point forward, this investigation is all yours. Blue Hair over there will fill you in on the details. Sunglasses here doesn't look like he'll be much of help, so he can come share a meal with me.
Pardon? Of course, I would be honored.
You lad, you have your spoke on you, yes?
I do, sir.
Keep it turned over. I want to hear everything. I'm giving the four of you 2 hours while I'm enjoying my meal. I want you to figure everything out about this case, then report back here. Just to warn you, this case is not about finding justice. It's about improving this facility and preventing such a thing from ever happening again. It's not enough to find our culprit. We need to figure out how and why this happened. If we can't figure all that out, there was no reason for calling you all down here. Please make me see how valuable your division is.
What was that all about? Hammond Mod, commonly referred to by his rank as Cabinet Secretary. It's the Deputy Director of the Fernamana Bureau. He laid the foundations for how he worked at the Bureau by creating things like that level system. He doesn't do much in the outside world, but he is de facto head of Bureau, handling every key issue that lands on his desk by his lonesome.
I heard rumors he was eccentric, but he put those rumors to shame.
I'm just glad he didn't turn his harassment our way. I'm just glad he didn't turn his harassment our way. I wouldn't breathe that sigh of relief just yet. We just came to know a lot of truth wrapped up in a secret facility. If the Cabinet Security doesn't view us as valuable enough to keep on living,
there's a high possibility we could be removed for secrecy's sake. Actually, since it's the Cabinet Secretly we're talking about, I'm sure he'll just do that.
To sum up everything, we just have to solve the case down here. Then we've got nothing to worry about. This is our specialty. That's quite the arrogant way of putting it. But it's just as note says, our job remains what it always is. Whether our lives hang in the balance or not, nothing changes. We've got to put everything we have into solving this case.
That we must.
Well then, shall we be off as usual with our minds perfectly at ease?
I don't think that's what she meant.
Shall we start off by having a look at the body? God, could you please lead us in that direction? Right away. Right away. Follow me. Borough underground area. Rutgers room. I don't know why, that's kind of funny to me. Just laying down like that. This is the scene of the crime. A prison cell. Made of grass. This feels like a giant aquarium tank. Also, are these two rooms attached to each other? Are these the victims' living quarters? Yes, all of our Oppenheim's living quarters are just like this. And the room to the right, that's a lounge where our Oppenheimers can go to let off a little steam. And not just the victim, all Oppenheimers use that room. Why is it attached to the victim's room though? I'll explain things later. I see the body's still there. No plans for an autopsy? We can't. Excuse me? That's as much as I can tell you about that. The Cabinet Secretly ordered me only to answer questions about this facility. Well then, we'll have to figure out the rest over the course of our investigation. Can't be helped. Can't be helped. You ready, dude? Yep. Good. Let's investigate any part of the room you deem suspicious.
Yeah, let's go.
Memory survey. That's the victim's bed. I heard the labored breathing of someone in pain. The more recent the memory, the worse the sound. The more recent the memory, the worse the sound. Was the victim dealing with an illness or injury? It seems quite likely the victim's death was far from quick, taking her slowly instead. I hope you can find what caused it, though. Come to think of it, this is the first time I'm seeing an actual corpse since I joined this division. Normally the police would have already carted off the body. My apologies to the deceased, but I can't make out much with her like this. I'll have to turn the body. You're surprisingly calm about all this. Back home, I saw a few bodies that were closer to Swiss cheese. The more I find about that place, the more surprised I am to know you live there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It won't move. Come now, what a weakling, move over. Ah! Beside the fact that I can't move her all, it feels like I'm not even grabbing hold of the body. They said that the victim's severance skill happened without her knowledge. No, wait, so even though the victim's dead, her skill is still active? It's not that the guards left her here on purpose, it's that they can't move her. Well, now we have to assess the body based on the appearances alone. First things first, I see no struggle on the body, though it's impossible for her to be injured regardless. I can't get a good look at the victim's face, but she looks like she's nothing but skin and bones. Okay, let's recall what we know so far then. What, are you not going to read the memories of the body? Sorry, I can't touch people. Alright, sorry. No need to apologize, it's due to my own shortcomings. Just the circumstances I find myself in No need to apologize. It's due to my own shortcomings. Just the circumstances I feel myself in have my hand shaking feels the leaves. Huh? Just the circumstances I find myself in have my hands shaking like leaves. The circumstances I find myself in having my hands shaking like leaves. Even in such dire situation, the sergeant can't touch a body. This doesn't seem like a simple matter of reluctance. Did something happen to her? Surprisingly, it seems as though she's been provided everything she needs.
Actually, she's better stocked than we are in our office. Most of these are top-shelf products. Yet there's very little trace left on everything. Was the victim a sticker for cleanliness?
That's rather odd. I'm getting almost nothing from the memories either. There's a note in one of these drawers. From the marks on the paper, it looks like she was counting something.
Indeed, it seems like something you often find written on walls of a solitary confinement cell.
Maybe it's because I haven't seen my fair share of solitary confinement cells, but I can't think of an explanation for this. Again, quite odd. I can read memories over the span of an entire month, but I can't read any sides of this drawer being opened. I don't see a lot of other ways she could have kept herself entertained, so to not use this drawer for a whole month, what does she do every day? I think we've investigated everything we can. So leaving the body like that is because you have no means of moving it, huh? Isn't it okay for you to at least answer me that? Alright. Once your investigation's complete, we're going to pull up the whole floor and ship her off.
As expected, the underground works on different scales.
Imagine a stafer that requires so much effort just to move her body. They said that according to her burial file, poison doesn't affect her either. So how on earth was she killed? You said I could ask whatever about the facility, but do you think I could get the victim's burial file? Sure. Here you are. Thank you. Huh? 2 documents. No way, they managed to write about her skill in such detail. It is only because she's an Oppenheimer.
No, it has nothing to do with her threat level.
The Bureau has a burial file addendums on every staffer, but like I said before, we can't access that information since our clearance is so low. That's upsetting. If we had access to this much information, we could solve our cases in no time. Are they really able to pick on us just because we're that low on the totem pole? No, from what I know, the Manor Affairs Division was demoted because 2 years ago, and you won't be able to find any records of the body from before her time here. That's right, I haven't been here that long myself. I can't tell you what exact circumstances, but we've got absolutely no information about what Mithril did before coming here.
That's odd. It shouldn't be that hard for the Bureau to track down information in one moment.
Well, enough about Bureau files. I'd like to know how your inmates spend most of the time. Alright, let me fill you in. Would you mind leaning back against that wall as you do? Alright.
Speech review.
All our inmates live in glass cells, as you can see here. As a rule, contact between inmates is strictly forbidden. We serve the inmates whatever food they request, but they aren't allowed to refuse meals. Besides a few prohibited items, we supply our inmates with anything they request. In addition, inmates are allowed to spend some free time in the lounge every 10 days to relieve them from any built-up stress. For the safety of everyone, inmates are not allowed the free use of their skills. However, we do allow inmates to use their skill once every 15 days. With everyone abiding by these rules, we should have seen zero health problems, but for some reason, this inmate's recently started losing a lot of weight.
So they're allowed to use their skills once every 15 days.
That's right, we have mana detecting staff to set up here and there. When an Oppenheimer uses his or her skill, a large amount of mana is released, triggering our arm. That goes for all but the ones with their skill always active. We have a record of who used their skills at what time, right here.
What would happen if inmates were to use their skills 2 times within a 15-day period?
The restraints they wear around their necks would inject a neurotoxin into their bodies, killing them.
Huh. It seems brutal, but there's simply no other choice. You have no idea what the damage Oppenheimer's skill is capable of. Sorry, I'm just filling up a cup.
If that's the case, why not ban the use of skills entirely? Great, thank you for your statement, Miss M. No response.
Is she just refusing to respond to anything but questions about the facility?
Well then, shall we investigate the lounge next door?
No, I would like you to investigate that room after we meet our suspects. I think it would be more efficient if we collect the suspect's fingerprints and footprints first.
Right, since all of the inmates use that room, that sounds like the right move.
Where do we have to go to meet your, other Oppenheimers?
Here, a map of a facility.
Well then, where shall we head first? Let's go for this guy first. Burrow Underground area. Berfenzome.
This cell belongs to a female Oppenheimer, Shia Berfin, the most dangerous person in the facility.
That woman. It looks like she's whispering something behind that glass wall, but I can't make it out. Is it soundproof?
That woman has already tried to escape this facility 6 different times. I would suggest keeping your distance as much as possible. You could fall victim to a skill.
What skill is that?
Here, her burial file. Compulsory trust. Then her skill allows her to manipulate a person's psyche.
I see. To put it in even simpler terms, she can make people unconditionally believe anything she says. I don't think that's dangerous enough to compare to her to a nuclear bomb.
she's packing quite a dangerous weapon then.
I would have to agree.
Really? I don't think it merits locking up the woman up. I don't think it merits the locking the woman up. Note, you are still not all too familiar with Phenomana, are you? It's not big explosions and things breaking to bits that make someone dangerous. Skills are all about how you use them, so even though Pandy's skill doesn't cause destruction, she's still rated an Estinine. You're an Estinine, Sergeant? Yes. Yes. Did I not tell you this? No, I guess I never asked. That's higher than I imagined. But you're not able to see clearly into the past, are you? It's not like you can get any visual information? Well, that may be true now, but back when she was able to touch bodies...
Hey.
Right, you never heard that.
Never heard what?
Back to business. And speaking of this Shia Berefin skill, being able to manipulate a person's mind normally ranks a staffer at Estinine or higher. That's because they can manipulate other staffs into using their own skills. But according to a Barrow file, Berefin is able to control a number of people at once. Plus, it looks like she has a nearly unlimited range. On top of that, if she were able to record her skill onto some sort of voice recording, she could manipulate the minds of hundreds of people at the same time. I see, okay. I understand the danger now. So, if we were to jump into the conversation with her, she can manipulate us as well. That puts us in between a rock and a hard place. It's going to be difficult to get her statement.
I would also like to get in there and investigate her room, but that's going to be a chore with her and it.
That won't be a problem. Did you just kill her? Just a little something to put her to sleep from her necrosage. We'll move her somewhere else, so just tell me when you've finished looking around. Since her skill can even work through a recorded vision of her voice, I'd rather not use my skill here. Brian, I'm leaving this to you.
Indeed, I'll do what I can.
Bum, 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 bum.
Clue time.
What do you see?
It's almost too obvious to mention, but I can only see Berefin's footprints here. None of her movements look suspicious either.
Wasted effort.
There are smudges on this glass.
Whatever it is, it's sort of slick. Maybe, lotion? Why was it only smeared here?
No, it wasn't smeared. The trace makes it look like it was scrubbed off.
So it was erased, scrubbed away like a stain? Seeing as though it's almost dry, it's been here for a few days. Do you think it might be related to our case?
It seems that the items on the shelf were used just a little while ago.
I checked, but it doesn't see any signs of a pen around here. That's probably a prohibited item for her. After all, her skill can be transmitted through written words as well. With each escape attempt, the restrictions probably grew tighter.
None of the trace evidence is standing out to me.
Huh? Was something like this in the victim's room too? That's how we pass her meals to her. Compared to our other detainees, making any sort of contact with Berefin is dangerous, so we even have to be careful at meal times.
So this was installed so Berefin's voice doesn't make it out of this room.
Could other items be, maybe passed through here too?
I don't think that's the case. The only trace I can detect is that of a tray used to serve food.
Then I don't see any possible way it would be used for anything else. Nothing stands out as particularly suspect.
She doesn't have all that much stuff to begin with.
I bet they limit the amount of personal effects you can bring in here. I think that Lange will have more of us to investigate. I have no idea what sort of person Miss Berefin is, so I really couldn't tell you. I wish we could get a statement from her. That would be dangerous. The last time she used her skill was 16 days ago. She's allowed to use it now. Speaking of which, Miss M, where Miss Berefin used her skill 16 days ago, what lies did she tell? We haven't figured that out yet.
Pardon? Isn't that dangerous to have out there?
No need to worry. All surveillance personnel working here at the time she used her skill have since been replaced.
They went that far. I guess that's how dangerous her skill is.
Well then, shall we say we have finished investigating this room? We should move on to our next destination. Burrow underground beep area. Burp area. Elroy's room. This cell belongs to the male Oppenheimer, Morrow Elroy. There's something that strikes me as free-spirited about that guy.
His looks makes me think I'd see him hanging around a summer resort.
His looks makes me think he'd steal your girl away. His look makes me think he'll steal your girl away.
That's quite the rude first impression to have.
You think you'll say that? You think you'll say that after he steals Pandy away from you? No.
What are you even talking about?
Shall we introduce ourselves?
Hold up.
I'd like to speak to him first. Hehehe, but of course, my dear sir.
Suddenly calling me sir out of nowhere. Hello. Yo, bro, long time no see, muchacho.
Huh? Are you talking to me?
Of course I am. Well done. One more, I'm at your beck and call.
The way this man speaks gives me a weird old guy vibes.
He sure is treating Note here with an air of affection.
That's no good. Is Note even capable of returning the sentiment? Note, do you know this man? No, this is the first time we're meeting. Makes sense. It wouldn't be easy to meet an Oppenheimer out on the streets. Indeed.
Are you sure you have the right person? Yeah, I'm sure. Detective Notrick case, right?
Perhaps it's the Elroy here met a different detective case. What do you mean by that?
His Burrow file. Does she want me to figure out the rest about on my own? Retrograde memory transmission. From the name alone, I can't tell what sort of skill that might be. Oh, let me explain it in layman's terms. It's time travel.
Time travel? Like, with a time machine?
Right, I can travel into the past. That's basically what my skill entails. However, the only thing able to be sent back is my memories, not my body. I guess you'd say that's a difference between me and my time machine, yeah?
So you're able to transmit the memories of your present self into the past? That's where the retrograde part of the memory transmission comes in. No, that can't be. A skill that transcends time itself. Is such a thing even possible?
Up until this very moment, I've never heard of such a thing.
However, such things can be possible for an Oppenheimer.
Right. Okay, I get it now. I know how you'd know me, Mr. Elroy. The moment you came to know my name is right here. What?
Not this one, this one. No? Wait. Elroy, this one. What am I supposed to find here? Was this... what? I have no idea what I'm supposed to find. Oh, okay. Mr. Elroy, according to this record, you released a large amount of mana on the 10th of this month.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
According to your burial file, whenever you receive memories from the future, that's when you execute such a large amount of mana. In other words, on that day, you receive memories from the future. Which brings me back to my point in all this. The way you know my name. It's simple. You have a memory of meeting me before. But, no, didn't you just say you never met this guy? Perhaps it isn't about them having met in the past. In all the memories Elroy acquired from the future, there must have been a memory of meeting Note. That must be it.
That's exactly right. You don't disappoint, bro.
Why has he got to call us bro? And what exactly did I do in the future?
I'm not sure if the future is the appropriate term when we're talking about memories here acquired 10 days in the past.
This is all really confusing, so let's call Elroy's experiences the previous timeline. Mr. Elroy, how exactly did we meet in the previous timeline?
It's rather obvious. We met when you came to investigate that rugged woman's death.
Speaking of which, would you mind making an official statement about her?
Oh, of course, good buddy. Of course, good buddy.
Well then, please rest your hand on the wall and begin.
Speech review. The incident you're talking about played out the exact same way in the previous timeline. I was shocked. I saw that woman the day before everything went down, and she looked so healthy. Just like in this timeline, you all came and did your investigation. Future, you solved the case without a hitch. Then you told me everything that happened. That's when I used my skill. And I returned to December 10th. I think that's pretty much covers it. First off, can we say that he probably wasn't lying? I caught the criminal in the future timeline. You did? I must say, your reasoning was quite impressive. How else could I call you all my bros? Well, do you know how the victim died? Of course! Then please tell us. I can't. What? Is this because he really knows nothing about... What? Is this because he really knows nothing at all? The fact that he knows who the culprit is and says nothing is definitely suspicious behavior.
Hold your horses, I've got reasons why I can't tell you who did it. Reasons? The first reason is that any interference on my part might alter the future. It's not a question of might. Plus, we have to prove our findings to cabinet security to show him our value, and we have no idea what might happen if we try to cheat. And the second reason, bro, is because you need to fully grasp what's happening in this case. What on earth is that supposed to mean? What on earth is that supposed to mean? I can't answer that. I might accidentally give you a hint. Alright, that's all I got. I've got to say about that. Head off some other place. Shoo! I have one more question for you, though. Mr. Elroy, you knew this was going to happen, right? Why not put a stop to it before it began? About that, if you catch up to you in the other timeline, I'll tell you then. Well, it seems as though I found out all I can here. As for a time traveler, Moro and Roy, I have no idea what to think. Logical.
Doug?
Burrow underground area. Doug's room. This cell belongs to the Oppenheimer Douglas Touchstone, a male. When you talk to him, be careful what you say. Be careful? Is he super sensitive or something? Just from the look of him, I can guess why. Oh, it's gonna be hard to voice a little kid. You've got to be kidding me. A boy. Wow! Wow! Investigators? Huh? Sir, are you a private investigator? No, I mean, I did work at the office of a private investigator before. Wow! Woo! Woo-wee! You think he might explode if I keep going? You should do something before that happens. I've never even had a conversation with someone so young. Do like investigators. Oh my god, how'd you know? You really are an investigator. I bet you could figure out everything there is to know about a person with a single handshake. I mean, it's not like I've shaken your hand, A fine point that's expected from a star investigator. Seems like an ordinary kid. Why keep a kid like this? I see. Douglas Doug Touchstone. Skill, casual object formation. He can make anything he desires. He can make anything?
Dangerous indeed. If someone so immature was to fashion some sort of weapon.
Yes, but the scariest part of his skill is that every item he creates has a direct effect on those around him. An effect. I forgot Tina's voice. Hold on. An effect. Once Douglas made himself a cake, no one around him thought that a cake appearing out of nowhere was the slightest bit odd. They all thought the cake had always been there. They believed it was a cake his parents had brought for him. It was only after they realized that the cakery was closed that they figured out Doug had created it using his own skill.
Then his skill reworks memory. In that way, the objects he creates meld seamlessly with this world.
To think a kid that cute could have skills so utterly terrifying. Sergeant, they keep children in here? Indeed, what luck. What? Usually a safer skill manifests itself at the age of 9. The younger the child though, the more difficult it is for them to control their skills. There are even times when the skill activates unknowingly. If a child this young, carrying this dangerous of a skill, unaware of said skill, mind you, were to let loose upon this world, I don't even want to imagine what might happen. I guess you're right, but I really can't fathom it. Note, this is a world where babies come out of womb wielding nuclear missiles. It's better if you don't fathom such implications. It's enough that you simply understand that they're possible. Still, do you think this kid was involved in our case? I sure hope he wasn't. I happen to like children. But what are investigators like you doing here? Are you here on a case? Was there a murder? Yes, it certainly seems that way. Wow! Tell me, if there's anything I can do to help. I've read all the books over there, so I'm real smart. Miss Mary said herself. Would you like to help us now? If you could recount the events of the past few days, that would be a really good start. Oh, sure, yeah. Well then, Doug, can you touch this wall? And then tell the nice woman everything. I came here about a month ago. I haven't gotten into any trouble, and everyone's really nice. I haven't even used my skill once. I haven't had any long talks with anyone either. I've been good, huh? To think I get to give such witness statement to a bunch of inspectors. It feels like I'm a character in a novel or something. How exciting. I've always wanted to be a suspect in a case. And also, that should be enough.
God, have you by chance talked to the lad about the death of the victim?
No, we haven't. He's at an age where he's not great at controlling his emotions, so we figured it'd be better if he didn't know. I've made a record of statement. Nothing's easy with kids. His statement's a mess.
I think it's enough though. We can at least get a sense of what's going on.
Even if we can get a sense of things, we have no guarantee of any of it was true. Kids especially are known for the telling fibs. I'd sooner trust a politician than a child I just met.
Sergeant, didn't you just say you like kids?
I like them better than I do adults. Their lies are easier to see through.
She may not be wrong. In the statement Doug just made, I can see at least 2 lies. Oh, we have to point that out. Doug, you lied to us, right? Saying that you didn't use your skill? That was a lie, wasn't it?
No,
If you keep lying to us...
I already said I wasn't lying.
Oops, I think I'm about to make this kid cry.
It's alright, don't cry, little what? Here, a piece of candy.
Nom nom nom.
Note, I think a heavy-handed interrogation to a child will only turn out to be counterproductive. Do you have anything else besides the abnormal heartbeat that can prove he was lying during his statement?
Detective Brian says it's going to be hard to get an answer out of him using the abnormal heartbeat alone. I've got no other choice. I'm going to have to connect some other information to Doug's statement to figure out his lies. Doug, this is a record of when the Oppenheimers in this facility use their skills. You said you didn't use your skill here, but there's a record of you using it. You lied to us, huh?
I'm sorry. I'm a bad boy. I'm the worst boy in the whole world.
I wouldn't go that far. There's no one in this world who's never told a lie.
It's not because of the lie. It's because I used my skill.
Huh?
I went and used it again, so I have to keep living here because I'm a bad boy.
They're teaching them from this young at an age that using skills is some sort of sin. That way the Bureau is able to maintain control of the Stavers, huh?
We heard that your skill allows you to create whatever you want. So what did you make this time? I don't know. Whenever I use my skill, it's like the thing's been there forever. So even I don't know what I made.
Even the maker doesn't know what he's crafted. That's not good.
Doug can't tell what he made, but the person who observes him must have figured it out. Let's ask around later.
But Doug, don't you have something else you'd like to tell us?
Huh?
You can't fool adults. There was one more lie in the statement you made, wasn't there, Doug? There's Athena, about the abnormal heartbeat here.
Uh-huh. It shows a contradiction, huh? Uh-huh. It shows a contradiction, right? It shows a contradiction, right? Seriously, I just can't keep up with how fast you are. Let me point something out a few times.
Am I really that fast? Well, thank you for confirming my suspicion. There's no other reason for this abnormal heartbeat. This one's a lie. Doug, you were lying about not getting to know the people here, weren't you?
Hey, you know about that? Yes, because we are investigators. Of course! You can see what sort of relationship two people have just from the looks on their faces. Sure, we'll go with that. Sounds like he thinks investigators have some sort of supernatural power.
Considering that the work we do is closer to psychic work than inspecting work, he's not wrong.
To tell you the truth, out of all the people here, there's one I've gotten to know.
Who's that?
Miss Mithril.
That would be Mithril Rugger, the victim.
And like the other people, I get to see Miss Mithril when I go to the lounge. Since there's glass between us, I don't know her voice. But when we write letters on the glass and breathe on them like this, we can send messages to each other. When I got caught, Miss Mary did sure get angry though.
What do you usually talk with Mithril about?
Mostly about books. I told her about the awesome mystery novel I just read too.
A mystery novel?
It's called The Tragedy at the House of Mirrors. It's so cool. It's in the lounge. You should read it too.
Right, I'll check it out. If I have a spare minute. I do enjoy a good mystery novel.
It's about a young woman who becomes the target of a serial killer, and so the man who once fell in love with her makes a plan to protect her. However, the plan actually ends up getting killed. So it ends with the man killing himself.
Why does the kid have to go and spoil the ending like that? It's nothing.
When you put together kids and mystery novels, you're setting yourself up for nothing less than an explosion.
Well, then, when was the last time you saw Mithril?
My last time in the lounge was, last week. So that'd be like 6 days ago.
At that time, did you notice anything, strange?
Anything strange? Nope.
I see.
I wouldn't call it strange, but Miss Misriel was looking a little bit pale. She looked a little skinnier too. That reminds me, she says she normally doesn't feel well once a month, so she takes medicine to help with the pain.
Pain meds once a month. Was she suffering from some sort of illness? But the guard didn't say.
Probably just her period. However, about her taking pain medication. Shall we stop there with our questions for the kid? We've got other places to check out.
Right.
You're going already? Of course you are. Since you are investigators, I bet you are really busy. Nice to meet you all. I love mystery novels, so it's always been a dream of mine to be wrapped up in a mystery like this.
You want to be involved in not solving the case.
A person like me could never solve a case. I could never be an investigator, because I'm a bad boy. I'm just happy to be talking to you, Mr. Investigator, and be like one of the characters in my novels.
We'll be back. When we do, we'll be sure to tell you how we solved the case.
Woohoo! Please do. Note, let's move on.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Logical.
We've met up with each of our suspects now. And seriously, not one of their skills made a lick of sense.
I'd have to agree. They've completely changed the way I perceived phenomena.
Sergeant.
Yes.
These Oppenheimers, they are not locked up here because they've committed a crime, huh? They're just forced to live out their lives here because they were born Oppenheimers. I know it's for the safety of the world, but is this really okay? Did I say something weird again?
No, you just hit the nail on the head. You are clearly in the right, and the three of us are in the wrong.
I'm ashamed to say it, but life as a staffer in London seems to have desensitized us to when it comes to morals.
When I was young, I got so angry with how irrational this all was, but then one day I resigned myself to it. When I was young, I got so angry with how irrational this all was, then one day I just resignated myself to it, and started to think there was nothing I could do about it. No, it's because you grew up outside of London that you're able to see us turning to a blind eye to everything. Of course, since it's you.
Oh, why are you looking at me like that?
Just because. Well, let's talk about this later on. After all, if we don't solve the case, there might not be a later for us.
Right. Let's do that then. Next, we should return to where they found the body, right?
Yes, to the room next door. We've got a launch to investigate.
We're underground area. Launch. Even at second glance, you can see this place is set up weird. It looks like 2 rooms are actually 1.
They must have had a reason for setting it up like this. Though when we asked M, she didn't have an answer for us.
She said she'd tell us about it later though, right?
There's no one here who can remember why it was set up like this. Not even the architect remembers why.
What?
Thus, we are led to believe that the odd layout of this building is from an Oppenheimer. And we are guessing it's Doug who used his skill to make it like this.
Huh.
Of course.
Doug's skill can manipulate matter and the memories associated with it. That would make sense, considering even the architect doesn't remember making it like this. But what exactly is the part he created?
In a facility created to isolate each inmate, it would be rather odd to attach a recreational space directly to an inmate cell. They would never have approved the construction of such a space right next to an inmate cell.
No way. Then did Doug create this whole room?
We can't be sure of anything. It's just our guesses. Then, does that mean this lounge never existed in the first place?
This room came to exist in an instant, but no one find that suspicious.
Yet, even though the hypothesis seems logical, no one can say for sure. This is the true power of an Oppenheimer. This is the true power of an Oppenheimer.
If this whole room is a single entity created with Doug's skill, how does that affect our case? And why did Doug wish for a launch like this in the first place?
Someone mentioned that the Oppenheimers were only allowed to bring the personal items into their rooms after a thorough inspection from the guards, yes? We can't tell how exactly the victim died, but if there's a murder weapon in this case, it's probably one of these items in the lounge. Let's examine every book on the shelf and every fingerprint. We've got to be thorough.
Alright. Clue time. It's cold. This must be a fridge too. Since the door is transparent, we can see inside. They've got all sorts of medication stored in here. The door's locked. I can only see Mem's fingerprints on the lock, so it seems as though our inmates can't open it.
Pretty obvious, really. Even the weakest of drugs can be toxic at the right amounts. Speaking of which, these seem like a strong medicines you see only at hospitals. Still, it seems like it's opened quite often, at least once each day.
And speaking of drugs, we have a suspect saying that the victim took pain medication. Doug said she took them once a month.
You think they keep poison in there too? They said it didn't work on the victim, but this is a place frequented by inmates, so I doubt they'd keep highly toxic substances in here. Still, there's always a chance someone might think of overdosing as a form of suicide, which is why it's probably locked.
I've got footprints from all 4 Oppenheimers, including our victim. However, there are a few days between each set. It seems that no 2 people have ever set foot in this lounge at the same time. That's probably because contact between the inmates is generally forbidden.
The oldest footprints are those of, Shia Belfin, left 1 month ago. That's a while back. It seems that the other inmates are coming in here about every 10 days or so.
Maybe because she used her skill recently, they're putting more restrictions on her.
Possibly, it makes sense.
Looks like the fridge is stocked with food.
Ah, look! Look!
What is it?
They have a caviar! A whole box of it! They have caviar! They have caviar! A whole box of it! Ah, you can't tell that liquor is expensive just from the looking at it. With only 4 people locked up in such a large space, I guess they've got the money to splurge on the good stuff. I'd be okay with living down here. I'd be okay with living down here 1 day a week. I know you're joking, but you should refrain from saying such things. It's rude to those actually locked up down here.
Speaking of good stuff, the tea Miss M brought you was pretty good. Was that top shelf too?
Maybe once a month. Hey!
It's kind of hard. Not highlighting anything here. Detective Brian, has the victim read any of these books?
Let's see. There are prints in most of these books, but there's only 1 book with our victim's prints on it. The title, The Tragedy at the House of Mirrors.
I've heard that somewhere before.
It's a mystery novel Dog was talking about.
Ah, the one he spoiled the ending of. This is the only one with the victim's prints on it.
Yes.
Maybe she wasn't a huge fan of reading. Huh.
What is it?
Someone wrote something down. It's on this page.
Looks like your average illustration to me. I don't see anything that looks like letters.
Look carefully. You can see the ink on the top left of the You can see the ink smudge on the top left of the page. There was a message written here. Someone must have rubbed it away with spit or something.
To write a message in such small letters, you'd have a hard time finding it if you didn't read the book to cover to cover. It's highly likely that inmates were sending each other messages where the guards couldn't find them.
Sergeant, will you restore the message written on the page before? Could you do that again?
Unfortunately, the writer didn't press down very hard with their writing instrument, so it'd be a hard ask. I can only make out 2 words. Meals and die.
Die. Then this could be related to our case.
I'd say I'm about 90% certain you're right. If only we could figure out who wrote the message.
Could you figure that out, Detective Brian?
No, when whoever wrote it closed the book. All the traces were compressed into nothingness. It'd be hard to figure that out with my skill.
There's something tucked into the back page.
Impressions, I see Doug spelled and here too. It says that all inmates who read the book must write their impressions about it. Then it seems that only 3 of our inmates read this novel.
Then the person who wrote the message must be one of those 3.
I should take the list of impressions with me.
Shall we tear out the page and take it with us?
Huh? Can we really just rip a page out? Can we really just rip a page out of the book?
It'll be fine. This is an emergency.
Oh. I can tell from the outside, but this wall's glass. You can see it into the victim's room from in here.
I see evidence of messages having been written here.
I can hear breathing and feel a puff of heat. Doug did say he wrote letters on the glass and blew on them to communicate with the victim. That's probably the trace you're picking up.
Then there's a high likelihood that our other suspects used a similar method to communicate with the victim.
All the detainees are prohibited from talking with each other, but it looks like the victim was the exception to that rule.
There's a high probability each of our other suspects knew the victim well.
Oh, so that could lead to a possible grudge forming from one of them.
I think we've seen all we can. But like Pandy said, isn't there something in here that was responsible for the victim's death? I don't see anything in here that could have passed by the victim's spell. I don't see anything in here that could pass the victim's skill and killed her.
I'm not sure a weapon that can break through her skill even exists, Note. Is there anything that stands out to you?
There is. The victim's skill is always in effect, and it normally serves the connection with anything that could harm her body. However, the one thing that's able to have a noticeable effect on our body is in this launch. Poison doesn't work, right? Oh, okay, never mind. Okay. I wanted to check beforehand, but... okay. One thing able to kill the victim is the medicine in that fridge.
The medicine in the fridge? Specifically the pain medication, right?
Yeah, there's a high possibility that the victim could have overdosed on pain medication.
No, the victim's skill severes the effect of all toxins. They said it stops poison, but then... how would pain medicine work on her?
According to her bureau file, the target of her severing skill changes with her mindset. Painkillers weren't created to bring harm to a person's body. Thus, it's possible that her skill doesn't severe those effects. Actually, it's extremely likely, according to Doug, after all. The victim said she took pain medication.
I see. That means the medication worked on our victim.
There's no way she would continue taking medication if it had no effect on her. Your logic is sound, Note. Then maybe the victim took too many pills on accident, and...
Nope. We talked about that before. For pain medication like that to be toxic, you'd have to be taking them at high doses over a long period of time. If it were just a mistaken dosage, it wouldn't be enough to kill her.
So maybe someone was slowly feeding her high doses of pain medication over a long time.
Then it's as we thought. Murder, huh?
With a target locked up in a facility, carefully monitored and controlled, do you think someone could be slipping her a toxic substance for long enough?
There's a high possibility someone altered the food distribution process in some way.
Their meals. It's hard to consider this as a coincidence. But first, all we need to know is how the food is distributed. Miss M, how are the meals prepared here? Since that's a question about the facility, you can ask it, alright?
We give our meals 3 times a day. Breakfast is at 7, lunch is at 12, and dinner is at 6. We normally prepare for what our Oppenheimers request, but under these we don't put an order, we serve them a balanced meal. We have a person who's in charge of supplying the ingredients, but I handle everything from the cooking to the distribution of the food. Then I dish out all the food onto plastic trays and deliver it to our Oppenheimers.
Then you cook it all yourself.
That means there's no room for anyone to slip something into it. Is there perhaps anything of note about how you prepare or deliver the food?
There is. To prevent any sort of sound from escaping Barafin's room,
I pass her food through the special door.
we talked about that before.
And as for the victim, I grind up 20 tablets of pain medication and sprinkle it on her meal.
Huh?
What did you just say? What did you say? What did you just say?
No, what, why?
No, why?
Why on earth would you presume to do such a thing?
Why else? To maintain the health of our inmate. It's one of the principles of this facility is founded upon. Why else? It's to maintain the health of our inmate. It's one of the principles this facility is founded upon.
That's ridiculous. That sort of thing wouldn't make an inmate more healthy.
No, it really does. It's one of our founding principles. Is anyone else finding it extremely odd that she's so serious about this? No, I'm pretty sure you're right to think that Athena. No, I'm pretty sure you're right to think that, Xena. The strange thing is that our guard, Miss M, isn't able to think logically about this one issue in particular. It's like something's derailing her thought process.
No way. Is the reason Miss M's strange claims because of that? Compulsory trust.
That's sheer Barafin's skill, right?
Indeed, there's no other explanation. M has already fallen victim to that woman's skill.
For those, the sake of the victim sprinkling pain medication onto her food is a founding principle here. If Barafin implanted a false thought like that using her skill, that's when the victim began consuming large doses of pain medication with her meals. That continued right up to the moment she died. Miss M began to believe that such a thing was what the victim wanted.
Then if that's the case, our murderer is... That con artist.
It was rather sudden, but it seems we figured out who our culprit is. Miss Shia Barafin. She's the mastermind behind this crime. Logical.
Note.
Yeah, I know, we figured out who did it, but it's not over yet. The cabinet security wants the specific way she carried out the crime. It's our job to find that out. Listen carefully, Miss M. You've been falling victim to Miss Bereffin's skill. What? That's impossible. I mean, according to the data we have on her, it's quite obvious that I wouldn't know if I had been affected by her skill. That's right, but there is no rule saying you have to sprinkle pain medication onto the victim's food. What are you talking about? That's one of the first rules we set up. No, it's not. That's just a rule Miss Belfin implanted in your mind with her brainwashing skill. I have no idea what you're talking about. It's no use. It's no use. It seems once the thought is implanted, the skill doesn't allow you to doubt it ever again.
That's more terrifying than I could have imagined. Em will never understand her role in this murder.
It's going to be impossible to make her understand that her thought process was concocted by someone else. It'll be faster to show Miss M when she was hit with the skill instead. Miss M, please have a look at this document. That's the document I gave you. According to this, Miss Berefin used her skill 16 days ago. As you said, you never figured out what sort of falsehood she implanted back then, right? Didn't you think that's when you might have fallen victim to her skill? No, that wouldn't explain it. And why's that? I told you already. When you use her skill, we switch out every employee at this facility. That goes for guards as well. 16 days ago was when she used her skill. This facility had another guard watching over the inmates. I said that wrong. 16 days ago when she used her skill, the facility had another guard watching over the inmates. I was assigned to the position after she used her skill, thus I don't see how I could have fallen victim to it. But you said Berefin's skill can be transmitted through records too, right? Do you think there's a possibility she wrote a phrase with her skill and you happen to see it? But she's not allowed to have a pen or paper. Plus, we've searched this whole facility, top to bottom, a few times now. Saying that she wrote something out using her skill, that's out of the question. Then how'd she do it? Miss M, can you think of anything, like anything at all that was ordinary, out of the ordinary? Even the tiniest detail. Berefin's skill removes the possibility of doubt from a target's mind. If I really had been exposed to her skill, I'd be unable to recall the moment that happened. Note, any ideas? I wouldn't say I have zero ideas, but I'm not confident in any one of thought. When it comes to info on Miss Berefin, we're missing too much. Well then, shall we interrogate her?
Dina?
We can't. I'll go in and interrogate her by myself. Then it'll only be me who falls victim to her skill. If I detect any abnormal heartbeats, maybe it will help you find something out.
You know that's not the issue here.
Come now, there's no guarantee Berefin's going to use her skill on me. Even if she were to, what's the problem? I never help when it comes to the logical aspects of... Even if she were to, what's the problem? I never help when it comes to the logical aspects of figuring out what happened.
Still, if something's going on to integrate her, it should be me.
No, if someone's going in there, it should be the person if someone's going in there, it should be the person able to detect abnormal heartbeats, right? She's right. Let's go with Stina's idea. Okay.
Sarge!
Is really the okay thing to do? Burrow underground area. Entrance to Berefin's room.
Well then, I'm going in.
One moment before you come into contact with Berefin, I've got to pat you down. You can't be taking a pen or anything in there.
What? Then how am I supposed to take a statement? Then how am I supposed to take our statement?
Sorry to inconvenience you, but you'll have to write it once you come out. I also can't let you take in any weapons or communications device.
If I must. If I must, Brian, hold my stuff.
Athena, be careful in there.
Look who's shaking in his boots now. You make it sound like I'm walking to my death or something.
I can't hear what they're saying, but it looks like the interrogation has begun. Thankfully, it looks like she's cooperating thus far.
I didn't tell you this to Athena on purpose, but there's a high probability her plan will work. I didn't tell this to Athena on purpose, but there's a high probability her plan will work.
Huh?
Morello and Elroy said that Note solved the case in the previous timeline, and it's clear that Berefin is our culprit. If Berefin's interrogation is fated to happen, then its integration will prove Berefin's guilt. Thus, it's quite likely that Athena's questioning will turn up something.
A reasonable assertion?
Are you mad at me?
Just, concerned.
Hold on. Huh?
Miss Berefin just saw Detective Athena's bracelet and Notes looked noticeably taken aback by it.
May I ask you something? Has there been an incident like this one before? What do you mean? Has anything happened like this where Stafer has had to question Berefin?
Any questions not about this facility?
Has this happened before?
Yes. I heard that something like this happened once before when Berefin tried to escape.
Brian, go in and get Athena out of there.
Understood.
Sergeant, what's come over with you all of a sudden?
Plan has been scrapped.
Note, I've grown far too complacent. Wait, there's a procedure for opening that. What's the sound?
It's a siren that sounds when a large amount of mana has been detected.
Then that means...
Damn it. What's that?
An air raid siren?
Clean up. Get out of there.
Brian, how many seconds do we have left? How many kilotons is the bomb?
Nothing's blowing up. Just get out of here.
Sergeant, why are we inside?
Dear heavens. Dear heavens. How many visitors am I going to get today? You're a fair bit quieter than the blonde who just left.
Miss Berefin, what did you just make Athena believe?
Oh, that's... Why don't you figure it out for yourselves? You're Stafers, right? Just like her. Can't you just figure out what sort of lie I implanted? Using your skills.
I see, this woman figured out that Detective Athena was using her skill during the interrogation. She figured it out based on a past run-in with a Stafer. So, it's a lie you can't be caught telling then.
It's just a question and more questions with you. You really shouldn't. Traditionally, when speaking to a lady... Shut up. Right now, I'm trying to think. Note, what's our best course of action? What should we do? Do you think we can make this scum of earth woman, locked away in a corner of some basement, regret her choices even more? But of course, making her feel utterly helpless is a strat, huh? Probably our best plan of action.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Let's go.
Yep.
I'll be right here.
Not my best voice acting, but it's hard to talk in a woman's voice.
Are you sure you're okay?
I said I'm fine. If you ask me that one more time, I'm gonna blow up in your face. I've said I'm fine. If you ask me that one more time, I'm going to blow up in your face.
Detective Athena, are you alright?
I said I'm fine!
Why are you yelling at me? Detective Hervinus, please this way. What are you doing? It was only for a moment, but this woman was exposed to Barafin's skill. We must quarantine her. All this blabbering you're doing, is it related to the facility too? Wait. All this blabbering you're doing, is it related to this facility too? It's slightly unrelated, but as for the facility itself, you aren't able to discuss anything out of the operations of this facility. That's why you told us. But are you going back on that now? If you're going to be like that, I'll be right back. Who does she think I am? She looks angry. I share the sentiment. Right, you look it. Right, her statement. I need to write it down before I forget.
Can you?
I can, so hurry, give me back my stuff. I can, so give me back. So hurry, give me back my stuff. Let's see here, she definitely said that, then she followed it with this. Done. Statement complete. Detective Athena, the abnormal heartbeats. There were none. That Barafin woman, she didn't lie a single time.
Surgeon, is this...
Yes, Barafin's skill has altered Athena's perception of her. Based on M's case we already analyzed, Barafin's skill blocks all logic from dealing with the keywords she uttered. Since Barafin made Athena believe everything in her statement, Athena didn't write down any abnormal heartbeats. Barafin could use her skill to make anyone believe a single statement. There's a particular part of the statement that should have been marked with an abnormal heartbeat, but it's unmarked here. That's not all. It's a statement as a whole. First of all, let's find the lies in her statement, all of them. Okay. Oh, okay, alright, this one doesn't count. Okay. Just wanted to know. To be honest, no, okay. We have to just find out which statements are just blatantly wrong. Okay. This part about her not even knowing the victim's face seems strange. Why is that? It's the truth. Why is that? Why is that? It's the truth. It's not. It was a whole month ago, but Miss Barafin has going into the lounge before. You can tell from her footprints appearing on the trace photo. She would have gotten a clear look at the victim's face, though, through the glass wall that separated them. She could see the victim's movements through the glass, and she must have come up with the idea of using pain medication as a weapon. Ah! Brian! Brian must be seeing things.
You really believe that?
No use arguing with her. With how Athena is now, nothing will make her doubt her statement.
It still stings a bit.
Sorry, you should have taken a more careful look.
Right, everything's my fault.
Then this statement was made using her skill. But even the guard knows that Barafin saw the victim, so what would be the point of using a skill on such a clearly false statement? That part isn't the only strange one.
What do you mean?
In her statement, there's one more thing that doesn't make sense. It's not just false statements where Detective Tina senses abnormal heartbeats, but in this statement. Would you have a look at this part for the statement? Detective Thena's abnormal heartbeats don't only show up for lies.
Right, I also detected abnormal heartbeat when a victim speaks out. Right, I also detect abnormal heartbeats when a victim speaks about death or murder.
Well then, why exactly did you not detect a abnormal heartbeat when Miss Berthin spoke about a death? Right here.
Huh? Ah, that's just a mistake. Of course, there was an abnormal heartbeat there.
A mistake? You wrote out the statement, yet it's a mistake.
Sorry, I was just sure that this statement was true, that I didn't detect any abnormal heartbeats. I'm sorry, I was just so sure that this statement was true, that I didn't detect any abnormal heartbeats. I must be mistaken.
You think it was just a mistake? So even though you detected an abnormal heartbeat, you didn't write it down.
Thena must have been so focused on trusting Berthin's word that she ignored what she saw and felt.
Makes sense.
In that moment, she believed in the lie more than she believed in herself. The more I find about this skill, the more it scares me.
So does that mean this line about her not having killed the victim is Berthin's lie?
Berthin, she must have caught on to the fact that Thena's a safer who is able to distinguish lie from truth. Is that why she made Thena believe the entirety of her statement? Did she think we'd believe everything Thena said? No, something's wrong here. The siren tipped us off to Berthin having used the skill. She would know we couldn't believe a thing Thena told us.
Wait, how'd this happen? We can be sure that Berthin only used the skills once, but we have two parts of the statement that are wrong.
She pulled a fast one on us. I can figure out why she did this, but the important question is how.
Sergeant, could I have a chat with Miss Berthin?
She can't use the skill anymore, so she's no longer a threat, but why bother?
I think I know the lie she implanted, but I have to be sure.
Seriously, you can't even give me a moment to think this through. That woman just declared war on us, so what's she going to think when we march back? That woman just declared war on us, so what's she going to think when we march back in there 3 minutes later?
Sorry,
Don't apologize, that was meant as a compliment. Brian, keep a close eye on Thena. No, and I will go visit our suspect.
Understood.
Keep an eye on me? Keep an eye on me? Did I really fall victim to Berthin's skill too, then? Keep an eye on me? Did I really fall victim to Berthin's skill too, then?
You did. And thanks to that, Note's getting closer to the bottom of this case.
Well, that was all I could do to help out anyways. How long have we been at this case?
Exactly 1 hour. If you don't count the moving around and investigating, he's about 10 minutes to deduce what's going on here.
You know what? I think Note's actually getting faster at it. He used to need at least a little time to walk through things, but now I don't think it even takes him a second to come up with his answers. You and Pandy help him with some of his steps in logic, but honestly, I'm overwhelmed just listening to him. You and Pandy help him with some of these steps in logic, but honestly, I'm overwhelmed just listening to trying to understand. I'm so embarrassed that I can barely get a word out. That shows I sort of follow. You and Pandy help him with some of his steps of logic, but honestly, I get overwhelmed just listening and trying to understand. I'm so embarrassed that I can barely get out a better word that shows I sort of follow. Honestly, I wish I could be of more help.
I became a detective for personal reasons. I wanted to be a person trusted by ordinary citizens, even though I'm a safer. But these days, my thoughts have changed. And I find myself hoping I can help him work through things even if it's the slightest bit. So when you forced us into letting you go interrogate Berefin, I understood why you did it.
It's weird. He's only been us for a few months. But it's like I'm seeing the Pandy we had him. But it's like I'm seeing the Pandy we had before her incident. Actually, it's more like
Overwhelmingly supernatural abilities can breed fear, but overwhelmingly talent can make jealousy give birth to admiration. They really wanted Nerd for this position, and now I can see why.
they.
Just talking to myself.
Dear heavens, it's been so long. Oh, has it really been only 5 minutes since I last had the pleasure? My stories, building held here, has warped my sense of time. I had no idea you'd be back in a mere 5 minutes after giving such a hearty speech. You're not funny. You're not funny. How rude. How rude. You don't strike me as the humorous type myself, dear. How rude. You don't strike me as... How rude. You don't strike me as a humorous type yourself, dear.
I'm scared of getting between these two. Miss Berefin, we're back so soon because we don't need any more time to think this through. I know exactly which part of your statement you used to skill on.
Oh, is that so? What statement might that be?
That Athena messed up on at least 2 parts of the statement. Miss Berefin lied on one part, but then to make us think that the whole thing was a lie, she had no choice but to use her skill on that part of her statement. Of course, it's this part right here. And just to make sure, Miss Berefin, please say I'm a man.
Pardon?
If that doesn't suit you, you could also say I'm 200 years old.
Are you pulling my leg? I see. Say, I'm the president of Canada. That is, if you don't want to meet your maker. You two are laugh and a half. Fine, I'm 200 years old man, the president of Canada, and an anarchist to boot. You happy?
I am. Did you hear all that, Detective Thena?
Wow, they really have such an extraordinary person locked up down here, hey? Wow, they really have such an extraordinary person locked up down here.
Are you serious? Canada doesn't even have a president.
Then that woman is there first.
Note, what's going on? Their skill detection alarms didn't go off.
They did not. Yet, Detective Thena believed Miss Berefin's word unconditionally. That's because Miss Berefin's statement forced Detective Thena to believe everything she said. You said, I would never stoop so low as to tell a lie. Isn't that right? That's one sentence right there. Though that one statement, Detective Thena would accept anything that came after as the truth. She'd believe anything that came out of their mouths. So,
Would you like a round of applause? Or maybe a warm hug? Stay back. Utterly futile in the end, no? Just because you claim to have figured it out, it doesn't mean a thing.
oh, it means something, alright. It means you're our culprit.
Yeah, I killed her. But you already knew that, didn't you? You think I'm just going to play dumb? I know this facility inside and out. They don't care if who's a criminal here. They just want to know how I did it. They wanted specifics to make sure such a horrible incident doesn't repeat himself. Isn't that right? As long as you don't figure that out, I win. These people would never kill me. So I'll be free to try this out again.
Why do all this?
Can you not take one look at me and see what my plan is?
Does my discovery really mean nothing, but...
You're right. We're here to find out how you did it.
Sergeant?
But, even though you didn't care if it finds out you're a killer, why on earth would you use the last skill you're allowed to use on Thena? But why? But even though you don't care for who finds out you're a killer, why on earth would you use the last skill you're allowed to use on Thena? Because it was entertaining. I love seeing the helpless look on your faces. I'm sorry, but the only one who would ever believe a lie better suited for a dime novel is Thena after you use the skill on her. And the one with the helpless look on her face is going to be you, not us. Think what you will. Note, consider this, Barafin's goal isn't to conceal a crime, but the way in which she did it. Yet, she chose to use her skill on Thena.
Maybe something Detective Thena asked held a hint about how the crimes were connected.
That's right. That's right. Then she figured out Thena was a stay for too late. But then if she used the skill to scrub just that part out, it would have drawn suspicion to it.
So to make us pass by the information, she made it so we wouldn't be able to tell the truth from the lies.
There's a lie in the statement Thena took that Barafin really wanted to hide. If not, she'd had no reason to use her skill.
Sergeant, that's not half bad.
A cocky sort of compliment, but I'll take it since it felt genuine.
I should take another look at her statement. Besides the lies we have already pointed out, there might be something between the lines. Something that hints at the way she pulled this off. This is all we got. This is all we got to go on. Miss Verafin, the statement you were trying to conceal is right here. There's no record of what you did. This is it, isn't it?
What do you want me to say? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. No 10-1 says it's our answer. You had no reason to conceal any of these statements. This is what you wanted to hide. The statement about how you committed the crime, the fact that there's a record of you using your skill, and the sentence that said, you must sprinkle a large amount of pain medication onto the victim's food. It's how it's possible for you to influence M after she was assigned to the swing. None of you understand what I'm trying to say. I'd just like to clear up one thing. You can all keep speculating about this and that, but it's not going to change a thing. Do you think that because all this speculation you're throwing around, I'm going to break down and give you a confession while tears of penance roll down my cheeks? If you got no proof, you're spewing on nothing but hot air. Isn't that right?
She doesn't look like the slightest bit agitated by all this. Is she used to being in these situations? Oh, if she's not agitated, it's gonna be like...
Do you think that because all the speculation you're throwing around, it's going to break down and give me a confession while tears of penance roll down my cheeks? If you got no proof, you're spewing nothing but hot air. Isn't that right? I just like to clear up one thing. You can all speculate things about this, but it's not going to change a thing. Proof. If it's proof she wants, we need to find evidence of what she left behind. That record will be our best clue. She couldn't bring a pen and paper back to her room, so she must have written out her sentence using some other means.
Sergeant, do you have something you can point to? Huh? Ah, she wants me to figure it out. Let's think. Miss Barafin used her skill 16 days ago, and at that time the staff members were switched out and the search for what she left behind turned up nothing. Then after that, the search of Miss M shows up at the facility and somehow falls victim to Miss Barafin's skill. That means she must have seen something somewhere. According to the records, Miss Barafin has been out this room for a whole month. Thus, Miss Barafin's writing must have been around somewhere in this room. Also, it must have been written in some way no ordinary search could detect. If there's a trace of that remaining... Lotion. When I was young, I had to stay inside on rainy days and I'd go absolutely stir crazy. Every time I felt like that, I used to draw on fogged up windows. The pictures on the window could fade with time. But all you had to do was breathe on them to make them reappear.
I see. So using that method. I see. So using that method. It wasn't that the picture disappeared. It just turned invisible. Then with the moisture from your breath, the picture revealed itself again. Shia Paraffin, even though I see no sign of defeat on your face, it doesn't change the fact that we've backed you up against a wall. Oh, so slowly. We're going to tighten the noose around your neck.
16 days ago, you wrote a sentence on the glass wall of your cell. At the moment, you used your skill. The gods back then looked for the message you left, but the words were practically invisible. So they found nothing. The Burrell ruled out you simply didn't leave a trace of your skill on the victim, so they brought on a new guard, Miss M, to work here. Then, when you and her were alone, you made the message you'd written on the glass appear once more.
It could have been as simple as you breathing on the glass, possibly using steam from some hot water. If you had only used your finger to write that message, it probably would have remained for just a few days. So you wrote in something more oily, like a thin layer of lotion applied with your hand. With a single look at the message on the glass, Em was forced to believe it unconditionally.
And that's when she started sprinkling large amounts of pain medication onto the victim's food. She began to think it was one of the rules she had to follow. Then the victim was slowly poisoned by the toxins that built up in our body, just like you planned. Mr. Shia Belfin, that is how you killed your victim.
And just like that, it's this again.
Logical.
It's over. It's over. All I have to investigate the glass with my skill, and I'll fill the memory left there. You don't need to go through all that. I've given up. It's unfortunately I got caught, but the crime itself was a big success. I'm happy enough knowing that.
Why'd you kill her? You two know each other, but that's only from seeing each other in the lounge a few times.
What do I gain from telling you that? Though it's obvious that you'll just keep pestering me if I don't tell you, so I'll just put it out there. After all, I need my beauty rest. To put it simply as I can, I just wanted to wreak havoc in the facility.
Wreak havoc? I was killing an innocent woman supposed to damage this place.
Don't you work for the Bureau? Don't you know why we're all stuck down here?
Isn't it just because it would be dangerous to let you Oppenheimers loose on society?
You have no idea what sort of entity the Bureau is. If that's the other case, wouldn't they just kill us and save themselves the trouble of locking us up like this?
No, I mean...
To be frank, there's a rumor that they swiftly execute any Oppenheimer determined to be difficult to detain. It's just a rumor, but considering that this facility isn't holding any Oppenheimers capable of inflicting physical damage,
Well, crap. Then why are they detaining the Oppenheimers here?
It's obvious. They're researching our skills to see how they can put them to use. They're considering valuable assets by the Bureau. So I just destroyed one of their assets. Specifically, the asset named Mithra Rugger.
Wonder. Then you had no personal grudge against Miss Rugger.
Nope, the only grudge I hold is towards the Bureau. And I'll have my revenge. The only way I thought to accomplish this was by killing Mithra.
Are you insane? That woman was in the exact same position you're in.
Do I look sane to you? My first few years here, all I could think about was getting out. Using the items I was giving here and my particular skill, I meticulously planned my escape. Just the planning for my third escape attempt took me over 2 years. With each attempt, I was able to get further and further. Then, on the 6th attempt, I finally reached an elevator that would take me to the ground floor. When I came to, I was right back in my cell. Those bastards had something that could teleport me back to my cell whenever they so desired. Escape hadn't been possible from the very beginning. My escape attempts were just another good opportunity for the Bureau to carry out its research on me. That's why they didn't outright ban our skills. Research. Still, I knew if I just sat here twiddling my thumbs, I'd probably just kill myself. I wanted to get my hands on whoever I could rip. Whoever I could rip them to pieces. But no matter how many Bureau people I killed, they just sat in new guards as if nothing had happened. This was my only way of exacting my revenge on these Bureau monsters. To that end, I don't have a care in the world. After all, I wouldn't get out of here until I'm dead. That much hasn't changed. All because of you Bureau people. Note, let's get out of here. We have done what we came here to do.
Right.
How frustrating. Still, how long has it been since I had conversation with that Long? That was quite an entertaining experience to keep things fresh. Yeah, not too bad at all. When I was talking to that Rugger woman, I had to write everything on the window. Maybe I am going insane. And when exactly will I have the courage to kill myself?
Save. We're almost done with this case.
You're back. You're back.
I see you've done what you set out to do.
We have. Oh, did you get revenge for what she did to me? I guess you could say that. I guess you could say that. She won't die for her crimes, but she'll be punished.
Once again, note you figured this out in less than no time. Good job.
Yeah.
Well then, since you figured out how exactly she pulled her off her crime, I guess all that's left is to inform the Bureau, yes?
Indeed. We've still got a good deal of time, but how about we head over to the meeting place a bit early?
Well, it's up to you, Note. Where would you like to go?
Huh? Oh, alright. We figured out how she did it. I guess we don't really need to stick around here. Then I guess our next destination is... No. Which one was the guy? It was Elroy, right? Bureau underground area. Elroy's room.
Hold up. Note, this is...
Yo, bro, you're back.
I am. Have you been waiting for me?
That's... My worst fear have been made real. That's... My worst fears have been made real. This is the worst timeline.
You just think that because you're delusional. It's really not.
Note has come over this way because he uncovered Berephin's crimes.
Or maybe it's because of what Elroy said before.
Mr. Elroy, you said you already lived through this case in the previous timeline, right? Then Miss Berephin being our killer, and the victim's food being spiked with medication. You knew all that? But you sat by and watched all of this happen. When I asked you why you didn't do anything to stop it, You said you'd tell me once I caught up with myself on the other timeline. We've uncovered the truth behind Barafin's murder, so I'm here to listen to your answer. Why? Why didn't you stop these events before they could have get started?
Alright, I think you're ready to hear my answer. To start with the conclusion of the story, it wasn't that I did nothing. I passed along the message the guards didn't know, but I left it somewhere that woman would see. I showed her the information that I alone knew.
The information only he knew. That probably means the details of the case. Oh, so if he's talking about the message. You say message, but is this what you're talking about? Mr. Elroy, this is a page from the tragedy at House of the Mirrors.
Dude, you're so worthy of being called my bro. You found it. But it's not good to go and rip pages out of books. I was reading that.
I apologize for that one.
It's totally cool. The ending was spoiled for me, so I probably wasn't going to pick it back up anyway.
Up in the corner, it looks like a bit of ink was smudged. If you look carefully, you can see that someone tried to erase the words up there. You can't tell what was written just by looking at it, but we were able to successfully pull a few words out with a skill. Because of that, we managed to read the words, meals and die. At first glance, I got a rather bad feeling about that sentence, but after getting to the bottom of this case, I find that the meaning here was changed. The drugs in the victim's meals were what killed her. We know that's how Miss Barafin pulled it off. Mr. Elroy, this is an explanation of Barafin's crime, and the only person who could have written it out. The only person who knew what happened was you.
Dude, you are a reliable squirt. Alright, bro. Then you found the clue I left behind. Just as you say, it was a warning.
A warning, of course.
A warning left just for the victim. Mr. Elroy, it's just as you said. You didn't sit there and do nothing. You left a warning for the victim in a book she would read.
Right, on the money. Bro, your girlfriend catch on fast.
Don't mention it.
But why make your warning so complicated like that? Couldn't you just have told the guard?
Of course I started with that, but the M woman couldn't understand what I was saying. I mean, she understood the words I was saying, but she couldn't wrap her head around the parts relating to Barafin's skill.
Of course, she was already under the spell of Barafin's skill then, so she had no idea she was being used.
As you already know, I knew of Mithril's death on the 20th of December. That's why I used my skill to come back to 10 days ago. Mithril was a mysterious chick who never talked about herself. Still, she was the only friend I had here. I wanted to save her. But instead of believing me, M ended up tightening the watch around me. I had no choice but to send Mithril a message in secret. The god is poisoning your meals. Throw away the top layer of your food if you don't want to die. I've seen your death. That's the message I wrote out. It was the only way I knew to save her.
I doubt I'd be able to stomach my meals if someone foresaw my death like that. Refusing to eat is against the rules of the facility, so she would have had no choice. Dana, could you write that out on a statement? But I didn't read him for any abnormal heartbeats. It's alright, Elroy has no reason to lie.
I see now that you tried your very best, but however, Miss Mithril Rugger... Exactly, I'm also curious how I wasn't able to stop her from dying. I can't go back in time again and stop her from dying.
But bro, you gave me no idea.
Someone must have erased my message. You didn't know that happened.
Of course not. Due to the matter release business, they cancelled my scheduled visit to the lounge.
Someone must have erased my message so Mithril couldn't see it.
That's how she died like before. The question is, who? Did Barafin somehow find it?
Note, the person who erased the warning must have been the person who picked up the book after Elroy. We've got a way of figuring out that was... right?
We do, I know just what document you're referring to. Mr. Elroy, if you add, look at this. We can find out who erased the note you left. Mr. Elroy, did you remember this document? Huh? Ah, that thing! Whenever we read a book on the couch, we're required to write that down thoughts. I'm not sure how it helps keep tab on us, though.
I believe it's about keeping track on your mental state.
But that's not important right now. Mr. Elroy, you wrote your impressions about the book right here. And here we can see the impression of the next person to read the book. Aha! That's got to be the person who erased my message. Who was it? Who read the book after me? Mr. Rugger, our victim. What? Mr. Elroy, the only person to pick up this book after you left your memo, was the victim. Not even Miss M knew about the message you left behind. That means the victim erased your message. After all, if Miss Barafin were to have seen it, she might have altered the plan. Your warning to the victim was delivered as you wished. But why? Why'd she die just like before?
Perhaps it wasn't just like before.
What do you mean?
The victim saw your warning. If everything went according to plan like it did in the previous timeline, it would have been pain meds that killed her. In other words, there's a difference between the case from the timeline you experienced and the case we're currently investigating.
A difference? There's a difference between the two cases. I have an idea what it might be. I've got a document that contradicts the account that Mr. Elroy gave about the previous timeline. Oh. We're just getting started. There it is. What? He didn't see the woman buffet before. What? I'm confused, like... No. I am... Yeah, now I'm confused. What is the problem here? I'm completely stuck. What? But she didn't look healthy, right? Got a document that contradicts the account that Mr. Enroy gave about the previous timeline. Yeah, I mean, I've checked everything, I think. Nope. The incident you're talking about played out the exact same way in the previous timeline. I was shocked. I saw the woman the day before everything went down, and she looked so healthy. This one. Was this guy? Moreau, Enroy. What? Okay. Hold on. Can't put 2 out 14 days ago as well. It's not it, okay. Just like in this timeline, you all came and did your investigation. That's the same. Future you solved the case without a hitch. I can't really combine it with another statement to say that's wrong, though, because he did. Then you told everything that happened. Yep, that's happened. Then that's when I used my skill and returned to December 10th. No, that's fine, yeah. That's fine. As you already know, I knew Mithril's death on the 20th of December. That's why I used my skills to go back 10 days ago, that's correct. Mithril was a mysterious chick who never talked about herself. Maybe? I don't know. Yeah, no, that's probably wrong. Since she was the only friend I had here, I wanted to save her. But instead of believing me, and Emma ended up tightening the watch around me. I had no choice but to send Mithril's message in secret. Yes, the guard is poisoning your meals. Throw away the top layer of your food if you don't want to die. I've seen your death. That's the message I wrote out. It was the only way I knew to save her. What? Huh? This happened on the 24th. And wait, what is it happening? The 23rd. What day is this? We're currently on right now? So confused. What the hell? I'm so confused. Okay, let's just read everything. Ah, so that's what happened. So you're supposed to be for this, but I didn't kill the full thing. I've never laid any other on this. Doesn't matter, I think. What are these, though? December 10th, I will release a launch manner, so that makes sense. December 24th, Barger confirmed deceased. And as you know, oh, it is this one. Okay. It's the time. I mean, the date. The date's off. Mr. Elroy, I'd like to ask you a question. What's today's date? I don't have a calendar in here, but that's obvious. I mean, it's December 20th, right?
I see. Brian, the date...
I don't have a calendar either, but the answer is indeed obvious. Today is Christmas Eve, December 24th.
What? No, that can't be. It's clearly... According to you, Miss Rugger died on the 20th. That's because in your timeline, she did die on the 20th. Right, there's no way that I got that wrong. Before using my skill and going back in time, I asked someone I trusted for the date. Bro, I asked you! Right. Then I'm sure that the incident happened on the December 20th in a previous timeline.
Yet, we're 4 days off.
Then how about this? Mithril threw away the food on top of like I asked, but the poison was mixed in too well, so she died 4 days later than before? No, Miss M, the person who carried out the act, said she just sprinkled the medication on top. Plus, it's not a poison, but a rather strong pain medication. If she only ended up ingesting a little bit, she wouldn't have died. In other words, she didn't overdose on pain medication this time. She must have died for some other reason. Some other reason? Then someone besides Belfin killed Mithril. No, we have no evidence of another killer or accomplice. It's impossible for there to be 2 murders in one building, let alone in such a closely guarded facility, even more so when you consider the particular skill of the victim. But then how did the victim die? Our current case and the case from Elroy's timeline are different. But only a single way. Mr. Elroy's intervention. His warning somehow changed everything. I mean, his warning somehow changed something. Sergeant,
I know. Make your mess note.
Yes, ma'am. Exologic, let's go.
Bro, this isn't your room. Shouldn't you be asking for my permission first?
There's only a single difference between this case and the one from the previous timeline. It lies in whether or not Mr. Elroy intervened. It's clear that it set off a chain of changes. Let's think. I've got to put myself in the victim's shoes. What would happen if I were here? What would happen if I were her and I saw Mr. Elroy's warning? What would change if I knew my meals were toxic? All our inmates live in glass cells, as you can see here. As a rule, contact between inmates is strictly forbidden. We serve inmates whatever food they request, but they aren't allowed to refuse meals. Besides a few private items, we supply our inmates with anything they request. In addition, inmates are allowed to spend some free time in the lounge every 10 days to relieve them of any built-up stress. For the safety of everyone, inmates are not allowed to free use of their skills. However, we do allow inmates to use their skills once every 15 days. With everyone abiding by the rules, we should have seen 0 health problems, but for some reason, the inmate recently started losing a lot of weight. The incident you're talking about played out the exact way in the previous timeline. I was shocked. I saw the woman the day before when she looked healthy. Anything strange? Nope. I wouldn't call it strange, but Bethany was looking at her play. She looked a little skinnier too. She said she normally doesn't feel well once a month, so she takes anything to help with the pain. Corpse, no sign of trauma. I doubt I'd be able to even stomach my meals if someone foresaw my death like that. I don't have a calendar here, but the answer is indeed obvious. Today is Christmas Eve, December 24th. There's a difference between the case from this timeline you experienced and the case we're currently investigating. Is it either this or this? Yeah, she starved to death, maybe. The fridge container was open 3 times a day. There are things like pain medications inside. The fridge is stocked with okay. C. 5 match correctly. Maybe this one. No. Let's see. Okay. So this is correct. Maybe this one then. No, it is Tina's one. Then it must be this one. Hey, okay, there we go. I've unlocked it. I figured it out. The victim was a dead woman one way or another. Are you serious? Who did it? No, more importantly, how? The how actually doesn't matter. In a way, the victim's death followed a set path. Look here, friend. You should probably be a little more careful with your words. I'm sorry, but there's no other way to put it. There was no other threat on the victim's life. The victim's death was caused by an incident we are already well aware of. Mr. Elroy, think about it. But think about it from the victim's point of view. What do you think the victim would have thought after seeing your warning? Once she knew that her food was being poisoned and that the person who warned her was safe or able to travel back in time. Mr. Elroy, your warning was left with good intentions, but do you believe the victim would have been relieved after reading it? What are you? The victim was made aware that she was in danger of dying, but instead of feeling relief at having avoided death, she must have been filled with the dread of death coming for her. Especially for a safer able to severe any harm that might come her way. I'm sure death was something she viewed as a distant threat. The shock she received must have been immense. Moreover, in this unique enclosure set up by the barrier, I don't see mental recovery coming easy to her. Even if she threw away the top part of her meals, I doubt she'd be able to rest down easily. When we checked out the victim's room, we found a lot of evidence of the victim's reluctance to eat. In the end, the victim rejected her food altogether. So what of it? What of it? There's no way she could have stopped eating all the way up to the point I killed her. So what of it? There's no way she could have stopped eating all the way up to the point she killed her. So none of that's important, right? No. No is right. The fact that the victim was reluctant to eat is important. And that's because of a certain trait of hers. Ooh, Mithril. Oh wait, no, hold on. Suppose even though oysters are non-toxic foodstuffs, Rutger once witnessed a person dying of food poisoning after eating them, so her body does not process them. Mr. Elroy, how much do you know about the victim's skill? All I know is that her body protects her. That's all I got from the short conversations we were able to have on the glass wall of the lounge. I see. Well, you're not wrong about that part. The victim's body severes the effects of any sort of threat. The problem is how a thing is determined to be a threat. Huh? The skill itself is the determiner of what is a threat and what isn't. However, Rutger's mind is able to make certain exceptions. That's right, even with a toxic substance, her body would absorb the substance if Miss Rutger believed it wouldn't harm her. I heard that part before, but that's why the pain medication was able to poison her. Yeah, and of course, the opposite also holds to be true. Anything the victim thinks is dangerous will not be absorbed by the body. What are you? The victim viewed her own food as a threat. In other words, she starved to death. In other words, she starved to death. What? The moment she became terrified of what was in her meals. The victim's skill saw her meals as threats and severed their effects. Even though the victim forced down her food for her own survival, her skill severed that vital nutrients from her body, and her body was unable to absorb any nutrition from the food she ate. Her body grew weak, but the suspicion she was being poisoned was finally rooted in her minds as death approached. Her fear of her food grew even stronger, until it finally killed her. This path was already set out for her, as sad as that is. And it's all because I want her. That's right. Logical. Mr. Elroy. Haha. It's fine. This isn't my first dance. It always happens. Every time I use my skill to try to change something, the problem only grows larger. When I first realized what skill I'd be given, I felt like a god among men. Even when I was running around those goons at the bureau, I felt like the main character of a movie, which only excited me more. But no matter how far I try to run from the timelines, there's only so much one man can do. You can't make something better just by knowing something about it. In the end, all I could do was make the world worse than it already was. I'm just that sort of monster. I forgot why they struck me in here, and tried to pull off yet another useless endeavor. And in the end, I only made Mithril suffer worse than death. And in the end, I only made Mithril suffer a worse death.
Mr. Elroy, we have no idea whether the victim suffered more or less. You may be right in assuming so, but that's just a guess. I can't think of any evidence that points to her dying a better death, so I'll spare you such empty consolation. We're detectives after all. The only thing we believe is in verified truth. Thus, the only thing I can truly say for certain is that the victim lived an additional 4 days. You will have to live with that truth too. Let's go.
Alright. Bro. Yeah? You keep that fantastic woman of yours close. I was going to tell you before, but the surgeon and I are... Haha! You think things are different the way I'm seeing them? Haha! You do better to be more decisive. There's nothing you can do with the past but look back on it. If you want something to change, you've got to do it yourself. An easily erased message just won't cut it. Well then, let me just say thank you. I hope I can see you again without having to turn back the clock. Indeed. Take care of yourself, bro. It sounds so awkward when you say it. Baru Underground area, 1960-something, December 24th, 5:30.
You both did great back there. Finally done. Now we just have to wait here for the cabinet security, yes?
Elroy tried to save the victim, but the way he handled it ended up taking the victim's life once more. A tragedy of coincidence.
You can call it coincidence, but it's still a burden Mr. Elroy will have to carry to him. I hope he can convince the cabinet security not to punish him. Coincidence? Is that really what it was?
Penny, what's wrong? Nothing. Just a bit of deja vu. I feel like I've lived through a case like this before. Probably just my imagination, though. Come to think of it, there's something I've been curious about. Why didn't the victim explain her situation to the cabinet security? M wouldn't have wanted the victim to die either, so she could have helped. No, I don't think things would have necessarily worked out like that. Note, something you want to say?
I should print out the transcript and choose which statement I want to refute. Oh. What would be a better idea? I feel like opposing Athena here would make sense, you know, like just a standpoint here, you know, but we haven't met Doug after that and we went to talk about it, so maybe going here would be the wrong position and going to this one would be it and say support, because I've lived through a case like this before and Doug really did talk about how every single time he liked the case like this one. The twist about his attempts of saving the victim actually killed her was just the best, so cool. Which is coincidentally exactly what happened here. None of this was a coincidence. What are you talking about, Note? Mr. Elroy tried to save the victim, but everything ended with the victim dying once more. Can that really be explained away as, mere coincidence?
Note, I'm really not following.
Nothing in this case was a coincidence.
Then what was it? Don't tell me, are you saying someone planned all this?
No, to say it was planned makes less sense than to say it was all a coincidence.
What? What? If it wasn't planned, it's only... What? If it wasn't planned, it can only be a coincidence.
No, as with everything in this case, it's all just looks too much like a coincidence. Just like the impression written here.
Note, you can head home early today if you'd like.
Sergeant, I'm dead serious.
The fact that you're so serious makes me more worried. Note, you're no gumshoe anymore. The crimes copied into novels are just that, fiction. No one can actually want those fictional murders to... No. Not in real life.
No. There's one person. You figured it out too, didn't you, Sergeant? After all, we do have a statement. Yep. Douglas, touchdown. You'll remember that kid, Doug, right?
Why are you dragging his name into this?
Ah, now that you mention him, Doug said it himself, I've always wanted to be a suspect in a case. Plus, you said something else, Sergeant. Sometimes young staffers use their skills without knowing they're doing it.
Okay, but if Doug did use his skill, what exactly does it imply happened? Doug is able to create objects. He can't make the stuff in his novels become real.
Oh, so Doug only used his skill a single time this month. He used his skill to create that launch 23 days ago. So even if you're saying Doug had some way of getting involved in this case, it would be hard to support that claim when he wasn't used his skill for a second time.
I mean, no matter how immature the kid is, you really think he'd do something like that? Even for you, Note, this is pushing it. Note,
I just heard something from one of them that rubs me the wrong way. I have to find something that contradicts it and point it out. Oh. Sorry. 23 days ago was December 1st. So that's not the one. Infinite note, this is pushing it. Well, this... I oppose it, but it doesn't make sense. December 1st, Dog released a large amount of mana. These are fine, these are true. Oh wait, shit. The twist about his attempts, yep, that's fine. This doesn't matter. Mystery Noble, only one book is touched by the victims. Fridge contains medicines open 3 times a day. There are things, this doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Trace of food going in and out. Trace of food doesn't matter. Bring up a medication 1 day, 6 days, 3 days, 23 days ago. That doesn't make sense. Oh. No, you were wrong.
Sorry.
No, Detective Brian's wrong.
Ah, me this time.
Phew. I thought it was me again. You two getting scrutinized has become a daily occurrence recently.
Still, I'm sure Doug only used the skill once. If he used it another time, there'd be a record of it.
Yes, we're sure that Doug only used the skill a single time. What's wrong is what single thing he used the skill to create.
Excuse me?
But the fact that Doug made that launch with his skill explains the strange way those 2 rooms are connected, though.
Indeed, that's a plausible inference to make. However, if that launch was only made 23 days ago, there's something there that simply shouldn't be.
Brian, let me see the trace photo.
Here you go.
I can't believe it. To think such an absurd logic could ever be thought plausible.
Brer Liffin's footprints, they were left on the ground 30 days ago, yes?
Where? Ah, he's right. He's right.
There's no questioning it. From the color of the footprints, I'm sure they're at least 30 days old.
The thing is, the thing Doug created at the time, it wasn't the launch. So, the thing Doug created 23 days ago? Note, you can't be saying...
That strange way the launch connects her cell. Yet, it wasn't the launch he created. To become a character in a mystery novel, his unconscious mind worked to make his wishes a reality. To that end, it created. Oh, this fucking song is a banger. This one, maybe? Oops. I'm gonna start with the top. Oops. Yeah, okay, so this was correct. I didn't even do this yet. Oh. 5. He created a glass wall. No? What did he create? I've unlocked it.
What are you trying to say?
Sergeant, you remember, don't you? You told me something before we came down here. Don't think common sense can make heads or tails of anything you're about to see.
I did.
The launch wasn't made with Doug's skill. It was always there. All we can say is that the way it's joined to the other cell is rather unusual. In fact, it was built that way because the victim has a rather special connection to another one of our Oppenheimers. Because Miss Berryfin was able to observe the victim's daily routine, she was able to come up with her plan to kill her. If Mr. Elroy hadn't known the victim at all, who knows whether or not he would have tried to use his skill to combat to try and save the victim. Doesn't it seem like the layout of those two rooms is that way in order to cause everything to happen the way it did? Yet, the launch has always been there. So, which side was Doug's creation?
Note. What on earth are you trying to say?
Doug used his skill to create what was attached to the launch. The victim's room, actually our crime scene.
No, I don't understand. Our crime scene is where the victim's been living this whole time. How would Doug creating that make any sense?
It can't be.
Detective Brian, you're looking at the trace photo of the crime scene, aren't you? Among the trace, is there anything older than 23 days?
They just erased everything when they cleared. That's not enough to explain it, Note.
If you really stop and think about it, there's one more peculiar characteristic about the victim. Not as a stafer, but as a person. There's something weird. Everyone, this document should help jog your memories. You should be able to figure it out from her Baru file. But there isn't a trace of this woman from before she came to this facility. The victim carried the threat level of Oppenheimer, so it's hard to claim that Baru just neglected to investigate her. Isn't that right?
Indeed. It's also hard to think that Baru and all the power they carry would be unable to dig up a single thing about a person's past.
Huh. Indeed, because there was nothing to find, nothing from before she came to this facility. Doug used his skill to create the crime scene, and everything it contained. There's one thing every crime scene needs. A crime scene needs a victim.
No, wait. No. Common sense says that shouldn't be possible.
This facility houses Oppenheimers. We have a woman who can make you believe anything, and a man who comes from the future, plus one little boy who can create objects and memories that weren't there before. Common sense is a luxury this place can't afford.
Our victim was willed into existence through a skill.
Then this is all about Oppenheimers. No, This case...
Yes, Sergeant.
Note, I must say it's quite unfortunate.
Huh?
It's an interesting theory, but unfortunately we've got evidence to It's an interesting theory, but unfortunately we've got evidence to contrary. This.
What's this?
We found it in the victim's room, the note she left in her drawer. This note carries quite the interesting memory with it. Each night before the victim went to bed, she drew a single line on this paper. She left a record of how many days she'd been here, how many days since she had arrived. If you just look and see, it's been well over a month. The victim, she couldn't have been made with a skill. She's been here for a while now. What's this now? What's this now? You're scaring the life out of me. Note, why'd you pull out? What's this now? You were scaring the knife out of me. Note. And why didn't you pull out? What's this now? You were scaring the life out of me. Note. And why didn't you pull that out earlier?
Still, I'm glad to see it. If our victim really was just a creation, I wouldn't have been Still, I'm glad to see it. If our victim really was just a creation, I would have been skeptical about why we were called in to investigate.
Sorry, Note's logic was just too interesting to follow.
Sergeant, there's no way you don't know. The victim's room, the note in the drawer, and the contradictions to spell out. Oh. I already know what it is. The drawer has no memory of being opened for over a month. Sergeant, why are you playing dumb?
What do you mean?
Regarding the victim's drawer where you found that note, there's something odd about it. It doesn't have a single memory of being used. Thus, it's impossible that it was the victim who did the writing. And that's from the investigation you did yourself, Sergeant. There are no more than 40 marks on that piece of paper, but it was created as part of Doug's crime scene. And it was like that from the very beginning.
I must have been mistaken. Let's go check that drawer again. Perhaps I'll find a memory of it being used.
There's nothing on it. There's nothing on or in that drawer. Your investigation couldn't have been wrong.
Note, don't incorporate an assessment of my skill into your deductions. Such things get in the way of the logical side of your brain.
Sergeant, you're always wandering around by yourself, head in the clouds. But you take detective work more seriously than anyone I've ever seen. You may not let on to it, but you, more than anyone else, understand the minds of the hurt and wounded. So, Sergeant, there's nothing left to find in that drawer. That is my logical assessment.
Note, why? On today of all days, at this very moment, did you have to go on and say something like that?
Logical. Oh, interesting.
So, you're saying that Note's logic is sound? So, and you're saying Note's logic is sound?
Then that means the memories say that piece of paper held.
Sergeant, why lie about that?
I'd like to hear the answer to that too. Cabinet Secretary, Cabinet Secretary, Cabinet Secretary. So you knew.
My apologies, but I am not sure what you mean.
Indeed, that was a rather idiotic question. It's obvious that you found out the truth during the incident 2 years ago.
So the truth behind this case is...
You don't need to tell me. I've been listening in on my spoke. You were outstanding. The Bureau owes the four of you a big debt of gratitude. I would just like to express how thankful I am.
Well, our normal compliment was the last thing I expected.
We had built 4 Oppenheimers in here. We had but 4 Oppenheimers in here. Yet, it was a mistake of thinking these peoples could manage the facility without me. God,
Yes, sir.
you are to be re-educated and deployed somewhere else. So get started on paperwork.
Understood, sir.
Good. And also, bring me Douglas Touchstone. Since the two of you are so close, it should be safe to do so.
Understood.
Cabinet Secretary, sir. Are you going to hold Doug responsible for this?
That's a question for later.
Excuse me?
Blame isn't exactly something I hold in high regard. For both your investigation in this facility and the goal, blame isn't exactly something I hold in high regard. For both your investigation and this facility. The goal is not about finding who's responsible, but managing our wards. If you're asking who has committed a crime here, I would be the first arrested for imprisoning innocent people.
Quite self-aware, at least. Then, why are you bringing in Doug?
He's to be promoted.
Cabinet Secretary, we hardly need a few... Cabinet Secretary, we hardly need a full explanation.
If you interrupt me one more time, I'll kill you myself.
Sergeant. Then what did he mean by promotion?
Touchstone uses skills unconsciously, I might add, to create a Staffer with an Oppenheimer ranked skill. Moreover, he only created this Oppenheimer before because he needed a force lead for his case. This pushes his threat level beyond that of Oppenheimer.
So promotion means...
There's something above Oppenheimer. This is the first time I'm hearing of it.
Was this what the surgeon was hiding from me?
He's now a risk to the whole world. He's a Noah, the highest threat level of all phenomena.
The highest level?
Noah?
The power to destroy the world in a single instant. If the people out there knew such a thing existed, society would collapse in itself. Even in this underground, few know of the existence of this Noahs. Under normal circumstances, a person read into this information without permission would be executed immediately. But since you hit such a high bar with this investigation, I'll give you a special pass this once.
So since Doug has been promoted to the Noah rank, he'll be moved to a facility for those ranked higher?
For now,
For now.
we'll keep him under strict observation for roughly a week. Then we'll dispose of him in a way we deem safest.
Dispose?
You're going to kill him, but he hasn't done anything wrong. It's bad enough you had him on the display at this art farm you got here, but now you're going to kill him.
Stop, I understand where you're coming from, but the rage is quite understandable. Dina Henavus, you've witnessed these deaths of your colleagues quite a number of times during your work in probations. Your inability to forgive transgressions must stem from your experiences there. You wish to filter out the evils for the betterment of our world. There's good in your actions. But is your good beneficial to everyone? Does a good that's beneficial to everyone even exist?
How can you?
What's this guy's problem?
This world is tied to a railroad track. Douglas Touchstone is tied to the tracks heading another direction. From a distance, a trolley approaches that cannot be stopped. My pulling the lever to switch the tracks seems like an evil, but isn't pulling the lever good and just... If the whole world were plowed over by the trolley, would that be beneficial? Would that be good? Don't your ideas of good just turn you into a mere spectator? Instead of trusting in the ambiguity you call good, I choose survival. I don't need something as frivolous as just a justification. After all, I know exactly what I'm doing. If that boy were to resent this world for a single moment, the world would end. How about you lot? In your entire lives, have you ever once resented your circumstances? Have you ever wished tomorrow would never come? Here, we have people who wouldn't throw the switch to change the tracks. But we also have no one who can set things back to the way they were before the switch was thrown. Except for one single person.
Hey!
Hey, Mr. Investigator.
Why now?
Did you find the culprit?
Why do you have to come this way?
We got Ugger. Your cooperation turned out to be a huge help. Woohoo! Seriously? That's great to hear. I'll have to brag about that later to Miss Mithril. Right. I'm sure she'll be happy to hear it. Well, I guess I'll going for a trip for a while. So, when I get back, you'll have to tell me everything about the case like you promised.
See you when you get back.
Yep. See you later.
Cabinet Secretary, could we be going now?
You may. I already called for your escort.
Note, cover your ears. We should get going. I came here because... Case closed.
Medin.
Sir,
Put the guard on Morolo Enroy. If we continue to follow the path of that novel, that's a high likelihood he'll try to kill himself.
understood. Did Notrix talents live up to your expectations?
He's still a bit wet behind the ears, but yes, they did. I'm sure of it. In that small amount of time, he figured out everything we knew about this case. Then he dug even deeper to find more.
Then what about you mentioned before?
I've already spoke with the chief of investigations. Once you're done with this job, get your affairs in order.
Still as quick as ever, sir.
Don't waste your breath on compliments. You're just using up time. We've got our fourth person now, and we're going to have to settle on a threat level. We have humans with all the powers born to them, and superhumans that excel in one particular field. This power may not shine like other supernatural abilities, but its presence far surpasses the others. Let's name it after the shepherd who stood up to a giant. The Stafer, Case, is officially assigned to level David. That kid, we absolutely must have him for our project.
Oh. Phenomena Bureau, London Branch, above ground, 1960-something, December 24th, 7:30. Oh, well, you did a good job today, Detective Case. If that's what you called me over to talk about, I'll be on my way. Ah, that's cold, my dear lad. Are you trying to copy your peers? I've just come to learn with time what sort of person you are, Chief. You lot may hate me, but I love all of you. You're smarter than anyone, but you're dumb enough to be used and eaten up. And what's more than that, you're normal, like me. Unlike those others. What's that supposed to mean? You don't know? The surgeon and detectives Brian and Thena are all perfectly normal. Dumb indeed. Even after everything you went through today, you were still not able to see the wood for the trees. Why did Berefin say she killed your victim? Why did Elroy try to save someone he knew so little about? Saying it's a grudge against the Bureau or due to some moral high ground is nothing but an excuse. The real reason is because they're Stafers. What? Stafers are a special lot. It's obvious that they've slowed off in their moral coils in favor of something outside the realms of normal society. They're trying to do something remarkable with the use of their skills. That's why all these cases with Stafers are just so complicated. But you're no Stafer, so how can you speak like you know them? Because that's what I'd do if I were in their shoes. Because everyone I know would do the same. Because humans are rational creatures. I'm the one who called you this way, so let me leave you with one piece of advice. If you want to climb the ladder of the Bureau, you've got about a day to start agreeing with what I just said. What was that? What was the last part? Sounds like the words of someone who's leaving, no? Ha 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 ha. Was it too obvious? I mean, you were going to figure out yourself tomorrow anyways. Remember my advice. You've got talent to go up and up. Only kings and cooks enjoy high places. However, there is one thing you said that I can relate to. Those people. Whether I believe them to be right or wrong, they're special. You'd better be going. You'd better be going. Please tell Sergeant Redfins to stop by my office. Tell the other two not to be clocking out just yet either. I don't know where you're going, but I'm glad to see you off, Chief. Right. I guess this is... goodbye. I'm here. What the chief tell you? Not much. He wanted me to call you for you, Sergeant, though. He also said you two shouldn't leave for the day yet.
Overtime after the wages had.
Well then, I'm off to see the chief. So you go ahead and leave, Note. Head home, wash up, and get some rest. Alright?
Note, just in case you haven't figured it out yet, never speak a word of what you saw and learned today.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
Oh, so there just might be someone keeping an eye on you starting today. I wouldn't do anything that could be misconstructed.
Keeping an eye on me.
There's a Noah, the highest level threat, that most of people working the underground don't even know of. The cabinet secretary will do anything in his power to prevent the fact from getting out. From this moment on, our every movement will be made under the watchful eyes of the Baru. In fact, the Baron's interior is probably the only place we'll be free anymore.
Why did the cabinet secretary even let us know what he did?
No.
Why did the cabinet secretary even let us know what he did? We're just an experimental division with zero sortie or clearance.
Indeed.
That's why the sergeant was keeping her knowledge of the Noahs from us. Then, just maybe, I could.
Note, don't even think about it.
Okay. Well, I'll be going then.
A note. Oh, thanks for today. You saved our skins back there.
Connemara Baru, London branch, 4th floor balcony.
Didn't I tell you to head home and get some shut-eye?
Today, there's no fog. Every time I come up here, the fog is so thick. What I thought was a tower was... well, actually just a steeple of a church. I always thought it was Big Ben. In truth, I'm not even sure what Big Ben... In truth, I'm not even sure what Big Ben looks like. I decided to think like that. I didn't want to find out. It's just as you said. Without the fog, it's a garbage view. Sergeant, you knew that Doug was going to be disposed of if we figured out the truth of the case. That's why you lied.
Indeed. However, his death isn't your fault.
I know that. Doug's fate was sealed the moment he was born. I'm sorry, I said it was like a weird Irish accent. I know that. Doug's fate was sealed the moment he was born. What I did was just brought that fact out in the light of day. It was a cabinet secretary who made the decision. I just let the truth go and watched what followed. And honestly, I'm a bit relieved. I'm glad they figured out that extent of that kid's skill before it was too late. For the sake of the world we live in, I'm glad they'll kill him. I really am relieved. One thought kept me in London. I need to find a job. Something for me to do. However, I didn't actually want to know. I didn't want to know what that job really was. But it would have been better to remain ignorant. To die off in the comfort of a dream. If you're going to be a Londoner, you'll doubt one fact at least once in your life. That there exists a phenomena powerful enough to destroy the world. In truth, we all already know. We are well aware that the world may suddenly end tomorrow. After all, at this moment, in truth, we all already know. We are well aware that the world may suddenly end tomorrow. After all, at this very moment, even somewhere, people are dying. But we all live on, as if we didn't know. If we didn't, nothing else would hold our focus longer than a second. The real world out there is an absolute mess. It's chaotic. It's irrational. It's a world where discovery only leads to loss. So we keep laughing. We pretend not to know. Even when the Bureau paid me a visit on my 9th birthday. Even when I kept waiting to be sold off down the river as I completed my training. Even when I got caught up in all the bigwigs' internal power struggles and thrown out like rubbish. Even when I was assigned to this experimental department for fledgling talents because I was so hard to handle. Even 2 years ago, when someone I respected died, I had to pretend that nothing happened and keep on laughing. But note, I just can't laugh in front of you anymore. It's odd. The laughs just won't come. Note, take my hand. But, Sergeant, it's okay. Because it's you. This world is packed to the brim with things I want to forget. But every once in a blue moon, there's something I want to find out. Even if it costs me everything. There's one person I wish knew everything about me. And note, I want to know about you. Even after I forgot every little detail about this world. I want to know about you. Me, too. The same goes for me. There's a person I'd like to find out about. It was only for a moment. But as she stretched her fingertips towards me, her eyes looked so sad. And as her words poured out like they'd been written out on a script, I couldn't be certain where my own mind was. No. But because the past is a thing we can only look back on, I realized holding her hand wasn't enough. I care for you, Sergeant. I couldn't let go of that hand. The Mana Affairs Division within the Investigations Department of the Pheno Mana Bureau is to be shut down in 20 hours. Oh. Case 4. Mistletoe. END. End. And next off, we end with Case 5. Beyond. Present events, past events, and the truth that lies beyond. Next time, we'll continue this. And as for this case 4, pretty big revelation just happened. Very excited, I guess. But I don't want it to end, you know? I really love this. It's such a good. It's really good. So thanks for joining. This was The Infected. This afternoon, yes, I will be playing Resident Evil 4, and we'll try to get through the cabin fight, Bella Sisters, and the Mendes fight. It'll probably be a short stream, but we'll do as much as possible. So thanks for joining. This was The Infected. See you guys next time.